It's 1933 in Los Angeles, and a strange headline covers the front page of the news. A mining engineer named George Warren Shuffel is on a mission to excavate what he believes is a lost city beneath Los Angeles, an ancient subterranean metropolis built 5,000 years ago by a technologically advanced race of lizard people. This is the story of the search for the lizard people metropolis underneath Los Angeles. Welcome back to Waste Media. Make sure to like this video and subscribe with bell notifications turned on. To understand this strange story, we must first try to understand the man behind it. George Warren Shuffel was born in Middletown, Ohio, a small industrial town. He didn't come from money or fame. He was from a working class family. Rather than follow the path of most of his family members, he decided to pursue business over the trades. In the early 1930s, America was gripped by the Great Depression. Banks failed, and jobs vanished. People like Shuffel began looking for more than just employment. They were looking for a miracle. And to many, Los Angeles looked just like that. The city had recently exploded in population during the 1920s. Oil booms, movie studios, and real estate speculation turned LA into a magnet for anyone chasing wealth or reinvention. In 1933, George Warren Shuffel arrived in Los Angeles with his suitcase, his radio X-ray machine, and a belief that he could locate gold buried deep underground. He pitched his radio X-ray device as a breakthrough in geophysical detection. It was a strange contraption, a metallic box connected to a long glass cylinder wrapped in copper wire. Shuffel claimed it worked by picking up the unique electrical frequency of gold and minerals. If tuned properly, he said, it could even detect voids underground, such as tunnels or buried chambers. He began surveying the city, scanning the ground beneath his feet, looking for signs of treasure. What he found, or claimed to find, would soon send him and Los Angeles down a rabbit hole deeper than anyone expected. While walking near Fort Moore Hill, an area just north of today's downtown Los Angeles, George Warren Shuffel began taking readings with his invention, the radio X-ray. He claimed the machine picked up unusual patterns underground, not random formations, but geometric shapes, angles, and what he described as voids. He believed he had stumbled upon an entire subterranean complex that stretched beneath the city streets. It was around this time that two other treasure hunters entered the story, Rex McCreary and Ray Martin. The pair claimed to be in possession of a map, an old sheepskin scroll that allegedly dated back to the Mexican-American War era. According to them, this map marked the location of a buried cache of gold beneath Fort Moore Hill. They believed it had been hidden by retreating Mexican forces, or perhaps Spanish colonists before them. The trio formed an alliance, convinced that together with Shuffle's radio X-ray and their map, they could pinpoint a massive underground treasure. But Shuffle wasn't content with gold alone. That's when the story took a turn from historical mystery to ancient legend. Shuffle claimed that during his investigations, he met a mysterious Native American man known only as the Little Chief Greenleaf. This man, he said, told him of an ancient tale passed down through generations, of a lost race that once lived beneath the earth. According to the chief, these beings weren't ordinary humans. They were survivors of a cataclysm, an advanced tribe forced underground after a meteor shower devastated the western coast thousands of years ago. The legend described a race known as the lizard people, a name perhaps inspired by their reverence for the lizard as a spiritual symbol of rebirth and protection, or perhaps something more literal. These lizard people supposedly used chemical technology to carve out an entire city beneath Los Angeles. They had constructed it as a refuge, a failsafe, in case disaster struck again. Shuffle's radio X-ray, he claimed, confirmed everything the chief had told him. He began mapping what he said was a vast underground labyrinth, one with halls and chambers, vaults of gold, and long-forgotten tablets containing the secrets of the human race. This was no longer just a hunt for treasure. It was a quest for the ancient truth, and in a city gripped by poverty, desperation, and wild hope, the story was irresistible. The tunnels were said to be 285 in number, branching out into large rooms that could each house entire families. The main complex was believed to accommodate up to 1,000 people, all living in secrecy beneath the surface. Whether Shuffle believed the tale completely or used it to rebrand a failing gold hunt remains unclear. But when he linked his machine's readings to the legend and mapped out a lizard-shaped city beneath LA, the public couldn't look away, and neither could the press. By late 1933, George Warren Shuffle was no longer just a mining engineer with a strange device. He was a man on the verge of unearthing one of the greatest discoveries in human history. At least that's what the headlines implied. After presenting his evidence to the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, Shuffle was granted official permission to dig. The county, enticed by the promise of gold and historical treasure, agreed to a simple deal. Shuffle and his team could excavate at their own expense, but if they found anything, 50% would go to the city. The location chosen for the excavation was a vacant lot at 518 North Hill Street, perched atop Fort Moore Hill. Shuffle believed this was the exact spot beneath which the key chamber of the Lizard People city lay. On February 21st, 1933, the digging began. Families came to watch the dig like it was a carnival sideshow. People brought picnic lunches and sat on the edge of the lot, peering down into the growing shaft. By March, Shuffle had requested deeper access. His early shaft had only reached 50 feet, but he insisted the readings suggested the main tunnel lay at a depth of 250 to 1,000 feet. The board renewed his permit, and digging resumed with greater urgency. Over the coming months, they sank a total of 5 shafts, the deepest of which reached 250 feet below the surface. He even produced detailed maps of the supposed city below, outlining 7 massive rooms spread across 6 city blocks. The biggest chamber measured 34 by 42 feet. Water had flooded some of them, he said, but he was preparing to use divers to explore the submerged spaces. But behind the scenes, the cracks were forming. Funds were running dry. Equipment failures and poor soil conditions were slowing the dig. Skeptics in the engineering community began to speak out. They called the radio X-ray a glorified novelty. They questioned Shuffle's qualifications. And while he had claimed scientific proof, he had never produced physical evidence of tunnels, just maps and promises. But still, Shuffle kept going. He swore that just a few feet more would break into the first chamber. Just a few feet more and they'd have the gold, the tablets, the history of mankind. But time was running out. As 1934 began, the mood around the Fort Moore Hill excavation started to shift. What had once been a media spectacle and a public curiosity was slowly turning into something more troubling, a money pit, literally and figuratively. The soil beneath Fort Moore Hill wasn't cooperating. Instead of hollow rooms and smooth corridors, the team encountered dense layers of sandstone and unpredictable water tables. Shafts would collapse. Water would leak in. The deeper they went, the more unstable things became. By early February, the main shaft had reached a depth of 250 feet. A staggering effort considering the limited equipment and the small, underfunded crew. Shuffle's radio X-ray machine had never been tested or verified by outside scientists. It had no patents, no blueprints, and no publicly available technical explanation. As local geologists and mining experts began to weigh in, many dismissed the device outright as pseudoscience. And by this point, the depression was worsening. Unemployment in Los Angeles was nearing 30%. The city had grown weary of what was beginning to feel like a fantasy gone too far. Even the newspapers, once breathless in their coverage, began to lose interest. The Los Angeles Times, once full of elaborate diagrams and hopeful editorials, stopped publishing regular updates. And by March of 1934, it was all over. On March 5th, just over a year after the first shaft was sunk, the city revoked the permit and ordered the operation shut down. The dig site was filled in. Whatever might have once existed beneath Fort Moore Hill, whether stone or story, was buried for good. There would be no golden tablets, no lost city of the Lizard People. And yet, even in failure, Shuffle refused to back down. He never publicly admitted defeat. He never said it was a hoax. To the very end, he insisted that the radio X-ray had been correct, and that somewhere beneath Los Angeles, the ruins still waited. Throughout the 1940s and early 50s, Shuffle remained in the city, occasionally working as an engineer or inventor. He never again attempted another excavation of such scale. To the end, he insisted that the tunnels were real. On November 26, 1957, George Warren Shuffle died in North Hollywood. The map he created still exists. It was donated to the Los Angeles Public Library. At the height of the Great Depression, a small team of men set out to uncover a forgotten world buried beneath Los Angeles. They had a machine, a map, and a story passed down. Whether through legend or imagination, we may never know. If you guys enjoyed this video, check out the Patreon. I post exclusive videos on there. There's an entire series on there, so if you want more content, check that out. The link will be in the bio and here at the end of the video. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.